Guys, one day when we are ready, not right now. One day, some other day, when it's not December and it's not the end of the year and people are not tired and so on. Can we talk about the role that the church has played in the breakdown of the Black community? Can we talk about the role that the church has played or is playing in the breakdown of the Black family? And the breakdown of Black people within society? Can we one day talk about it? It's not just the alcohol. It's not just the drugs. The church. Can we talk about how the church is absolutely comfortable with our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunts and our sisters and women in general just get married to the church and negate everything else? Negate their children, negate their homes, negate everything. Everything gets negated because they are focusing on church. Can we talk about the neglect that children have to endure while their mothers and caregivers and grannies and aunt and so on are in church for 5 hours upwards, hungry, looking after themselves, neglected because people are working towards the kingdom of heaven while negating what is happening on this plane, on planet Earth, focusing on the hereafter?
Can we talk about how the church is stealing from people, stealing from struggling families, all in the name of, oh, you are giving to the Lord?
I am going to give every one of you, pastors, an opportunity to repent tonight. And then to go back immediately after this convention and restitute your ways with your congregation. Make it clear to them. Anyone who is not paying his tithe is not going to heaven.
All kinds of arguments in the world today about tithe. I believe in tithing. I'm a tithing individual with revelation by revelation and with joy. Koinonia is a tithing ministry with revelation by revelation with joy. And for as long as I live, this is a principle and an ordinance with understanding, void of compulsion. And the fruits are there to show.
As long as they give their tithe, that's all I care about.
He just said the quiet part out loud.
A couple of months ago, we started a Haitian church in our church. It now has over 450 members. They live on the street. And the offerings they've been giving are amazing. I think they're stealing it from the Mexicans, but I don't care. As long as they give their tithe, that's all I care about.
He did not eat apple. It's not apple, let him eat, please. You get up, you shouldn't be eating apple again. That means after you eat apple, you're already committing sin. And that's some of you ate apple even yesterday. Adam touched the tithe. Adam did what? The tithe was the only thing God told him not to touch. He said, this one is yours, but this is mine. Don't touch it. So every time you touch your tithe, you are living in dishonesty. You're living in what? You are tampering with that which God has told you not to touch. Many Christians are not honest with their tithing. Are you hearing me? They touch it today. They say, God, forgive me. Now listen. Every time you willfully disobey God, there's a consequence. There's a what?
You see the length they are willing to go. This one here is even twisting the scriptures, talking about how Adam, it was tithe that he ate. Every day we'll be talking about scammers, but nobody wants to talk about how these so-called men of God are scammers. The OG scammers, if you want to even keep it 100. Nothing but a bunch of criminals in suits. And their weapon is the Bible. That's what they be using to rob people.
It is wrong to limit you to 10%. At a time when some of you should be 20%, 30%, 40%. 10% should be for beginners.
You must give that offering and you are refusing. You will die. Stand up. I don't want you seated. You're refusing to give that offering and you're refusing. You will die. You will die. Ma'am, you will die.
Yes, Papa.
Witches will kill you. You will die.
You literally can't make this ish up. They are even willing to go to the point where they are threatening people with death. Fear mongering. Nothing is off limits for them. Literally anything. They are willing to do anything and say anything to get that money. Talk about wickedness and evil in high places, deceiving these people that the money is for God, whereas they know damn well that it is the head pastor or whoever it is that is the overseer, be the owner of the church, because these churches have owners, they have founders, right? Is these people that are taking all of the money? You will see them going to use this money. They have private jets, right? Living in mansions, while telling these people that, oh, they should look forward to going to heaven because their heavenly Father have created mansions for them there. Why are these pastors not looking forward to the mansions that are in heaven? They can have mansions here on earth, but every other person in the church, every other person on the continent need to look forward to heaven first before they can have their own mansions. How do you know if any of the miracles that these pastors are performing are true? Do you know anyone personally that has been cured? All of their churches have channels where they stage their miracles. What I want these pastors to do is leave church, go to hospitals. Go to hospitals and heal the people there. Sometimes when you're out and about on a busy road, you come by people seated on the sidewalks and you can really physically see the ailments that they are suffering from. And they even go as far as sometimes as holding a placard that has a list of the things they need medical assistance with if you cannot physically see the problem. Day in, day out, pastors ply those roads. But no, they will not go and heal those people. They'll come up and bombarding us with their stage-managed miracles. Then you guys see these miracles and you hold on to it tightly and use it as proof that your pastors or your God have one power and they are doing stuff. But anyway, since we're talking about pastors and miracles, check out this pastor.
A senior diplomat from Zimbabwe has agreed to launder more than $1 billion in cash in what he believed to be a meeting with Chinese gangsters. Al Jazeera's investigative unit has found the diplomat was videotaped making the offer in a meeting with undercover reporters as part of an investigation by Al Jazeera into networks in Africa that use gold to launder vast sums of money. Ubert Angel is a British Zimbabwean businessman and the presidential envoy. He claims to have made it to the Africa Forbes rich list in 2013. His net worth is around $60 million, and he calls himself the prophet of success.
Woman with a trip, Nev.
Ubert Angel is also an evangelical preacher
Fire the Holy Ghost!
who says he has the gift of prophecy with powers to heal the sick.
It takes the power of God, but it takes somebody to believe for something to happen like this.
Glory, glory. What's a man to be associated with? Pastor by day, criminal by night. Ooh. But these are the people you people follow and put all of your trust in. You people even go as far as calling them daddy because you don't know who born on. People even give them your money in the name of offerings. In your mind, you are giving your money to God. People are enriching people and putting them in higher places in society so they can continue to do a lot more damage to the society. People fund criminals, you give them name and status, but when I say, oh, man of God, bless me, daddy. But I bet when he was doing all of that miracles before he was called out, people thought he was doing actual miracles. They couldn't they play. And a lot of these pastors people follow and idolize, the things they do behind closed doors. I know someone who works with pastors, a lot of those big names. He has tales, you guys don't want to hear them. But of course, you cannot speak ill against the prophet of God. I guess that's too late because I said what I said. Growing up in the Catholic Church, there was this collection we used to have, offering collection we used to have, and they still have till this day, I'm sure. It's called the Pope Collection. This is a collection where we'll come out and give money and they will send the money to the Pope. Ask me why Africans are dropping money that is being sent to the Pope. If you like the way this thing is set up is so freaking annoying.
1493 AD, Pope Alexander VI authorized colonization and slavery. The Vatican still has museums filled with our stolen history and artifacts. An organization with no morality whose history is filled with nothing but horror stories.
Not only did they come in the past to colonize and enslave and steal from us, they still have our artifacts. Even in the Vatican, the Catholic Church still have things that they stole from us, right? Which is like crazy when you think about the fact that this is supposed to be a quote unquote religious body that is supposed to be part of the body of Christ, and they are supposed to be spreading good, peace, and love and all of that. But they have stolen goods. These are the same group of people that came to tell us that, oh, thou shalt not steal, but they stole from us. Not only did they steal, they still have these things with them. Till this day, they've not given it back. And somehow I'm supposed to believe what this organization came and told African people that, oh, it's God that sent them. Or, oh, they are the good guys. They came down here to help us. Like, I can't see sometimes when I think about the fact that I was born into that organization, that's like the what my family practice and still practice till this day, by the way. I'm like the only one who's like fully out right now. I'm no longer religious, like I've shared on here multiple times. When I think about how I was born into this organization, baptized by it or in it, confirmed even, right? Even trained and indoctrinated to be proud that I'm a member of this organization or was a member of this organization, it literally makes my blood boil. Literally makes my skin crawl. I get so sick to my stomach that was ever part of it, even though yes, it wasn't a choice of mine, right? But just the thought that there was a point in my life that I was part of it, I was proud to be part of it. Thinking about what that even means and how saying, oh, I'm proud of this organization is me basically saying I'm proud of everything this organization has ever done and everything it's still doing. I'm proud of it. Some people might not see it that way, but that's how I see it now that my eyes are like open to use that explain it that way, how it is for me at the moment. Open to the truth, open to everything that was kept from me when I was younger. I wasn't a bubble, right? But we live, we grow, and we learn. And I'm glad that I have learned, and I'm still unlearning all of the BS, right? But it's just crazy, isn't it? How they could come over here 400 years plus ago, right, and turn us away from our ancestral ways and stole from us. And now, till this day, we are still obligated to give money to these people. Till tomorrow, Africans that are Catholics, are still giving money to the Pope. Like, what they took from us is not enough. It's so annoying. It aggravates me when I think about all of these things put together, like aggravates me. Like, we are struggling down here. African people are struggling. Things are hard globally right now. We all know this. But somehow, one Reverend Father will still stand on the altar and tell these people to come out and give money that they want to send to the Pope's collection. That's what they call it. It's just... No. But this is what the church is doing to African people, right? This is how they are robbing them. This is how they are using them for agendas that they would not even benefit from. Because what is the Pope doing that is benefiting African people, that African people have to be contributing to? This is how we fund their evil and wicked agenda. All of the money that the church have, what are they using it for? For more wicked, more evil things. And we indirectly fund these things. Right? This is how we embolden them indirectly. Can we talk about how the church lets their church activities span through economic hours? So you have a situation where people who are supposed to be out there working so they can have money to take care of themselves and their families, so they can be useful to themselves and their society at large, are in church from Monday to Monday, Monday to Sunday, because the church somehow have convinced these people that it is better to be in the quote-unquote house of the Lord than to be out there actually doing things that are useful. On a Monday, 9 a.m., 12 p.m., you would hear people in church jumping up and down, crying and shouting, speaking in tongue, praying non-stop for a God in the sky to come and do for them things that they are supposed to be actually out there working and doing for themselves. Like, let's make it make sense. These pastors have African people believing that some of them should even lock their establishments, lock their shops, and come and pray for God to come and do for them the things that if they were in their shops, they will be able to do for themselves. Like, the logic, I can't find it. they've totally warped the brain of some African people, turned it upside down. And how this mentality that they've instilled in African people is contributing to the reason why we are where we are as a people today. Because we have African people that rather stay on their knees praying than maybe be on the streets protesting against bad government, because they believe that it's prayer that is the key, and that's how they are going to get the solutions that they want. I actually made a video on TikTok that I reposted on here some time back, talking about how the church actually have made African people very lazy. The church have made African people physically and psychologically lazy. While, yes, the government is doing what it's doing, which is nothing for the people, we also have to talk about what the church is doing and how the things that they pass on and preach and make into some kind of law or dogma, whatever you want to call it, is keeping people in perpetual poverty. Because really, let's talk about it, that as a pastor, instead of you to be encouraging your members to be hardworking, to go look for work if they don't have work, think of ways to set them up and establish them, assist them in getting them up and standing and comfortable in life so they can have a good life, a life that is worth living. But no, that's not the case for these pastors. That's not how they operate, because the only thing that concerns them, the only thing that they care about is that they should be coming to church Monday to Sunday, to come and be screaming and shouting up and down, wasting economic hours. Would you say a pastor that is acting in this manner actually have the best interest of his congregation at heart?
They don't care about black folks.
They ain't about to come in for
Mega church don't care about black folks.
That's what you said.
My problem with black religion is threefold. You take three things from black people that we can't afford to waste. So number one, they take too much money. Number two, Joe, they take too much of our time. You don't get your time back. You can make that money back. You can't make your time back. Bible study, Sunday service, Sunday morning service, Sunday night service, gospel choir, Thursday. Why are you taking all this time and you're not giving us nothing? And the third thing that they take from us that we can't afford to waste and have misuse is hope. The black church abuses our hope by constantly making you feel Jesus or Muhammad going to come and make everything right when the time is right. And that's why black religion plays right into the hand of the white power structure. You know why? Because it has black people thinking they don't have to do shit but wait and pray in order to change their circumstances. And that's why Napoleon Bonaparte, and I'm no fan of Napoleon Bonaparte, the white man's greatest military strategist, said what? Religion is what keeps the poor man from killing the rich one.
Yes, indeed.
No, religion ain't nothing but mind control. Nobody has ever opened up a church to liberate people. Churches were created to control minds. You can't show me a religion or a religious organization that believes in free thought and liberation of consciousness. Every religion is a mind control institution.
It's not a tap.
Every day, the church is screaming, vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. What does this create? A situation where people now see wealth as something bad, see comfortability even as something bad. Because according to the church, blessed is the poor, blessed is the meek. So it's no surprise that if you come to Africa, you would find a lot of Africans that are quick to call anybody that they see that is rich. They will say, oh, the person serves the devil, or oh, the person is into rituals, or the person is doing something diabolical. That's why they were able to get this money, because the church has made them believe that if you see somebody with this much wealth, they are doing something wrong, because you are supposed to be meek. Blessed is the poor. You are supposed to not be interested in the things of this world. You are supposed to just be looking at the heavens. You are supposed to just be looking forward to getting to the afterlife, because that's where you are supposed to be having good things. If you have good things in this life, there is something wrong. It's of the devil. I also feel like this mentality is the reason why you see a lot of black people so obsessed with the concept of Illuminati, for example, and are very quick to call black artists Illuminati members. Well, some people might disagree with me on this. This might be a controversial take, but I'm sharing my opinion. You guys know I keep it 100. How I feel, that's how I share it, right? So this is how I feel. That it's the church that's also the reason why we are quick to demonize our artists. It's the reason why now there's a lot of Africans that believe Rema, and the Nigerian Afrobeat artist, is part of the Illuminati now. Any little thing that guy does now is the Illuminati. That's what they're talking about. I saw a video with Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm going to try and see if I can find that video and add it in this video, because he puts it perfectly well. And he said in the video that the church made poverty divine, the glorification of poverty in the church. And the irony is that it is only the congregation that is expected to be this meek, be seeking heaven only, like I said earlier, because the men of God who are preaching this divineness of poverty and glorifying it, right, backing it up with the scriptures, they are not poor. And what makes it even more sick, sad, infuriating, unfortunate, like painful when you think about it, is that these same pastors that are glorifying poverty and telling their congregation to seek ye the kingdom of God and all of the things that are in it and forget the things that are in this world and that they are all vanity, will still come to these people after making them not want to gravitate towards having money, right, and being comfortable, because somehow that's bad and a sin. They have to be looking forward to heaven. The little that they still have, in their meekness, this man of God will still come back around and say, this little that you have, you still have to give me 10% from there for tithe. You still have to, on a Sunday to Sunday, weekly basis, even when you come for services and masses or whatever, church programs, you still have to drop offerings. So it's like the church is on this mission to keep African people constantly at the bottom. Constantly and it's just so sad. It's pure wickedness.
Can we talk about how the church is absolutely comfortable with people taking their entire bonus and salary and giving it to the church as tithe? And don't come at me with it only happens in Pentecostal churches, because that is not the truth. It happens across denominations. Presbyterian, Roman Catholic, Anglican, Zioni, all of it, the church.
And can we talk about how anti-Black and anti-African the church actually is? And yes, I'm talking about the church in Africa. African boys and men can't even grow out their hair in the church because that's immoral. That's bad. Hell, some would even say it's demonic. But they are constantly kneeling down in front of a statue of a man, a white man that they say is their savior. Moving on, right? But his hair is grown out. He can't grow out his hair, and it's not demonic, it's not immoral, it's not bad. Same way any other races of people can come into churches in Africa with long hair, right? The men in other races of people, right? They can come into churches in Africa with long hair and nobody bats an eye. It's not bad. It's not immoral. They are allowed to be able to grow out their hair. Hell, people will be looking at them with cat's eyes in admiration. But an African boy or an African man grow out his hair and now all hell break loose. Some churches won't even let him in. Ushers will be stopping him and harassing him at the door, talking about your hair. How the church, I'm going to use myself as an ex-Catholic because that's really what I have full knowledge about, coming from that foundation. That's what I can speak on. In the Catholic Church, my name, when I went to get baptized, my native name, Ivie, my tribal name, was not good enough to be baptized with. The church told me, as they've told people before me, and every other person that was part of my group that wanted to get baptized, part of my catechism class, the batch that I was in that wanted to get baptized at the time, we all had to pick up English name, quote unquote, Christian names, plural. Because apparently, Ivie is not good enough to be baptized with. That's not a godly name. Apparently, Chukwuemeka is not a good enough name to be baptized with. Brakemi is not good enough. Rukewe is not good enough. By the way, that's my Orobo name. Those names are not good enough. African names are not good enough to get baptized in. We have to get English names. Because those are the heavenly names. Those are the holy names. They are the godly names we need. Tell me that is not anti-Black. They teach in English in my parents' church and are against dowry and having traditional weddings. They say it's against God's ways. No surprises at all from me, honey. I have been saying it. You cannot be a Christian and be 100% African. It's impossible. Why? Because Christianity demonizes everything African. I know some people are going to come into this comment section talking about, oh, don't generalize, all Christians are not like that, all the different sects of Christianity are not like that because they don't do this in their church or in their sect of Christianity, meaning it somehow doesn't fly. But no, the demonization of our Africanness exists in all the sects. You see, Christianity holds you to a European standard. You have to be as European as possible for you to be an authentic Christian. You see, that's why when I went to be baptized as a child, I had to be given an English name to be baptized, because somehow Ivie just wasn't good enough of a name to be baptized with. I had to pick a European name that, now thinking back, cannot even hold a candle up to Ivie. Christianity holds you up to a Europeanized standard. No surprises there, because the religion was put together by Europeans. So in order for you to be a good Christian, you have to be as Europeanized as possible. But unfortunately for Africans, they cannot really fully be Europeans, right? So, they have to settle for Negropeans. That's why you would see an African that has already done traditional wedding. They are married in the eyes of their ancestors. They are married according to the laws of their land. But to that African, they are not married yet because they've not done white wedding. But what I find most sadly ironic in all of this is that Africans are so willing and ready to shit on their ways, culture, tradition, throw the whole thing away even, because Christianity made them believe that those ways, cultures, tradition are demonic. But these same Africans are not aware that their new formed culture that they've drafted out of Christianity is actually European culture. They believe when they do white wedding, they are marrying in the presence of God. No, you're actually doing European wedding. All those Christian celebrations, Christmas, Easter, that you cannot even find instructions to do that in the Bible. Where do you think they came from? If they believe it's culturally Christian, no, you are celebrating European festivities that they intertwined with their religion. For the sake of argument, if we have to go by the Bible, where is Christmas in there? Where is Easter? And the mind-blowing part is that these African Christians practice these festivities and they don't think it's demonic. They've not even taken the time to go look at the history of all of those festivities. But yeah, of course, everything African is demonic. I just sweat. I won't go bath.
These are the realities we need to start talking about as Africans. That are we saying what we've accepted as Christianity is Christianity, or it is actually European culture? And you ask me, and I'll tell you that 60 to 80% of Christian practices is European culture.
Because why must being a Christian remove you from being an African? So before Jesus and God accepts you, you must first of all become like a white man. You must eat like a white man. You must dress up like a white man. You must sing like a white man. Oh, then God says, welcome my child. You are now in the kingdom. If you come there like a Ghanaian, you come there like a Zulu, you come there like a Xhosa,
like a traditional one, they will be like,
no, you can't. You can't. God does not like this. Jesus does not like this. So this God that Christianity is talking about is not a God who created the Africans. It is the God who is understood by the white people. And he is being imposed on the African. That this God, the Christianity is talking about, can only accept you only when you come through the culture of the one who is bringing the religion to you. So it cannot be right that I bring Christianity to you as a Ghanaian man, and the first thing I do is to force you to become a Shona man. I force you to become a Zimbabwean. So, because if you don't become Zimbabwean, you cannot even use your name. You can't even use Botang. You must become Takudzwa. You must become Kumbirai. Now you begin to understand the history of Catholicism, why our names were being changed to become Roman names. I'm Francis. I'm Joshua. I'm John.
I'm James.
I'm James.
This man, some of us might know him. For some of us who don't, his name is Joshua Maponga. A little info on him, for those of us who don't know him, he used to be a pastor. I think at some point he was even ordained a bishop. He served as a pastor in the ministry for 33 years, but at some point he started decolonizing and deconstructing. We know those of us who are on this journey, have been on this journey, we know how it goes, how you one day you believe and then the next day you're like, I don't think I'm believing what these people are saying anymore. So yeah, he started deconstructing, and as we know, the deconstructing, decolonizing journey is it's a lifelong journey, right? It's not something you do one day. But now he's a speaker and he's basically made it, should I say, his mission to join and helping the African people decolonize and deconstruct and wake up from the lies. And so be clear, there are some things I've heard him say that I personally don't agree with. But then again, that's the beauty of life, right? You know, we have varying opinions and we are all entitled to our opinions, but also putting into consideration that he is someone who is deconstructing and on his decolonizing journey, because like I said, it's a lifelong journey, right? So where he is today might not be where he is tomorrow, and it's not a journey that can be rushed and should not be rushed, even I would say, for your mental health, because waking up one day and coming to realize that you were basically lied to for your entire life, it's not easy. So it's not surprising when you see some people maybe hold on to some aspect or are still sentimental about certain things in this thing that they are supposedly deconstructing from, because it's a step-by-step process. You don't lose it all in one day. So I'm saying all of this to say that there are some things that still I see him holding on to that I still go, man, in my humble opinion, there's still work to be done. Same way, even to me, there are things that I catch myself still in this day 2024, still holding on to that. When I catch myself, I come to realize, wait, why am I holding on to this thing? It's still tied to this thing that I'm supposed to be deconstructing from. So I start peeling it back again, and then find a way to easily, slowly wean myself off of those things you get. So I'm saying all of this to say that, yeah, if you go on to check the man out, which I'm encouraging you to do, because he has some very fascinating perspectives, right? So if you do go to check him out and you come by some clips, put to mind that some of these clips are very old, way back maybe when he was still, in his early phase of decolonizing or deconstructing. And then maybe you might come by a clip that is very much recent, 2024, and he's still saying something still that is like still not giving 100% fully decolonized or 100% fully deconstructed yet. I want you to know that it's a journey, and this journey looks different for everybody. So yeah, put that in mind, because since he's someone that has been out there in the public for years now, he was a minister, there's a lot of clips out there. You might end up being confused and you might end up wondering, wait a minute, I thought this person, you understand? So yeah, I'm just saying this now so you understand exactly what is out there, so you don't get confused.
And I've asked the question and no one has come up to answer it. The question is the God of the Bible the creator of the universe? Because if he is the creator of the universe, we need to ask the same God the question, so what is your agenda with Africans? And if your God cannot accept me as an African, dress up like a white man so that God can accept you. Then you look at this God and say, hold on a minute. If you have a problem with the African and his identity, question, then who created this one that you have a problem with? Because it looks like you only favor this one. Oh, if a man claps one cheek, give him the other cheek. Oh, that's good for white people, yeah? What if a black man should clap a white man? Should the white man also give him the other cheek? How come the gospel only works with why and how, and justifies why an African must be colonized and abused by the white man? But the same gospel will not tolerate if a black man becomes the master, becomes the Lord, and implement the same law. If slaves must be obedient to their masters, it's beautiful when a white man is the master. What if we turn the verses around and say, what if the black man is the master? What must we do with these people that raped our mothers, stole our land, killed our kings? What does that God say? And if that God cannot address African problems, then that God never created the African. So my gospel has to do fundamentally with respect of every culture and clan in their own spaces, and not use religion as a foreplay of colonialism and managing the African anger towards issues that must be resolved, whether they be legislative issues, academic issues, and etc. Here we are struggling with democracy. Democracy simply meaning the white man can continue to abuse you. It's only that you have a right to vote, but you still don't have the right to land and function. But they are free in their countries to do what they want. You are not free, and we call that political freedom. Political freedom without economic power is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. The gospel according to Maponga J is an Afrocentric gospel that deals with African identity. Decolonize God, decolonize religion, take off the clothes of colonialism, find your identity as an African. Who are you?
The church is anti-black. The church is anti-African. You have to be as Europeanized as possible to be able to access this God. This God cannot accept you in your authentic African form. Now tell me why I should be interested. Tell me why I should be interested. That's why I'm not. Amongst other reasons, of course, historical reasons, and you know, some of the things, a lot of the things that they are doing today in our present time. I'm not interested in the church or this religion and this thing that came with the colonizers. I'm not interested. That's why I'm out. But these are the things. These are some of the things that, of course, I cannot. There's so much to mention that I can't in this video because of time, right? But there's so much that the church continues to perpetuate that is very, very negative and very anti who we are as a people. Was it not a pastor that was on the pulpit? I shared a video on here now of a pastor that was on the pulpit telling African women that they should, encouraging them, that they should go and buy, be wearing weaves and invest in hairs and stuff like that. And how that's how they will find a husband. A pastor stood on a pulpit and was telling African women and young girls that their natural hair is not good enough. It's not pretty. She said, in quotes, who natural hair help?
All of you be carrying natural hair about. Who natural hair help? Okay. You better wear your wig. I be doing like this. And be flipping it. Go and spend that money on hair. Draw your brows. Buy lip gloss. Look good. Natural hair is not selling markets.
I'm going to link these videos I'm mentioning in this video in the description for those of us who want to check them out. But these are the things that the church perpetuates. And this is what it's doing to African people. There's so much damage that the church is doing to African people that I don't even know if we would, how we would want to even start unpacking these things. Because all things African is, you know, bad and demonic for the church. And yes, again, we know where this came from. It's them colonizers that brought this, right? But it's 2024. Can we start taking accountability for some of the things that we are doing and how we are perpetuating, we still are perpetuating colonial ideologies? And hell, now that I'm thinking about it, we are presently colonizing ourselves now, doing them colonizers' job for them. We are carrying the colonizers' water at this point right now. And we have to take some accountability for that. While, yes, acknowledging how this thing started, we also still have to acknowledge how we are playing into it and how we should know by now. We should know by now that these are things we should not be doing.
Can we talk about how the church is absolutely fine with perpetrators within the church who commit crimes like violence against women or against children, minors, and instead of opening cases with the law because of these things, the church prays. And then all sins are washed away. And they are born again through JC. Basically telling the victim that no, JC has sorted this out. Now you must forget about it. Who are you if JC has forgiven this person?
And if you say anything, they'll be screaming blasphemy and talking about how you are speaking ill against the man of God and how you were born in hell. Like, no, I'm pointing out that this person did something wrong and they should be held accountable. But there is no accountability in the church. No accountability. They carry men of quote unquote men of God, put them on this high pedestal and continue to enable them. Not only do we give these people money so they continue to be powerful men in society because they have the funds now. We know people who have money can get away with a lot of things, right? So these people, not only have we given them money, we've basically funded them, we've made them rich as a society so they can continue to use this money to get away with stuff. The church has also created a situation where these people don't even need to come out and say anything. When maybe if they are being accused of anything or if there's proof that they did anything even, they don't need to come out and say anything. They know that if they ever find themselves in a situation where they are in the spotlight for negative reason, the church is always going to have their back because they know exactly how the minds of people in the church work. They know exactly how these people think. They know that they've spent years drilling into their brains that, oh, you know, you can't speak ill against the man of God. So of course these people are going to have their back. They know that these people see them like demigods on earth. They know that these people reverence them. So whenever these people are in the spotlight, they don't even need to, for negative reasons, I'm saying, they don't even need to do any work right now. Like, that's how crazy it is when you really look at it. These people don't even need to come out and say anything because the church speaks for them. The church defends them. The church is a shield that protects them and their wicked ways. Can you imagine in the Catholic Church, there is a saying literally that the Pope cannot err? Yes, we were taught that in catechism, that the Pope cannot err, the Pope cannot make a mistake because he's literally the representative of God on earth. Do you know what that does to a group of people? When you have a group of people that believes that the Pope cannot err, meaning anything he does is okay. So when you hear that, oh, the Pope does something and somebody is speaking about it, these people that have been groomed, basically indoctrinated from a very young age in catechism class that the Pope cannot err, that are now adults, are going to come after you and tell you that no, it's not possible. They are going to stand behind the Pope. This is how, this is the mentality that continues to let these criminals go scot-free.
I have personally been in a church where a bishop of the church violated a 12-year-old girl, got her pregnant, and at the church it was announced that the church will raise the child. After the 12-year-old births the child, the church will raise the child, and JC has forgiven that bishop. I was there. And I know this is not the only story. There are multiple stories of men of God violating church members. And then Jesus forgives. And criminal charges are not pressed because the church protects the perp.
He was building the church itself. In these constructions were going on fast. It's like his dream. Something that can beat the Gothic temples in Europe.
Everybody worked to build this massive structure. TB Joshua was trying to create his own empire. Behind the scenes, you've got a workforce with no pay.
I did watch all 3 episodes of the documentary when it came out on YouTube. I saw every nanosecond of it. Just so we are clear, I 100% support the victims. I had originally told myself that I wasn't going to say anything about the documentary, but this particular clip just came by my FYP on here, and it reminded me of how I felt when it came up while I was watching the documentary. Not to make this documentary about me or anything, because that's genuinely the last thing I want to do with this video, but seeing this particular part of the clip where we see the church members carry headbands on their heads and, you know, they're the ones building the church and everything, that hits very close to home for me because it mirrored my experience and the experience of the parishioners in the church that I grew up in. We did the exact same thing. We, the parishioners of the church that I grew up in, built that church from start to finish, both with our physical labor and with our money. from foundational level to roof level. The only things we did not do is things like the roofing and fixing of the doors and the windows. But you see the mixing of the cements, the shoveling of the granites, the carrying of sand from here to there, the putting headpans on our heads, the pouring of the pillars, we did all of that. We carried the blocks from point A where they were to the point B where they were needed. I mixed cement with like a shovel. I shoveled granite. I did not know how hard it was to shovel granite until we started building that church. We did this so much, we eventually started really getting close for this purpose. I didn't know cement can eat away at your hands. We were learning on the job. We eventually received sense and we started wearing gloves. Just free labor. Nobody was paid for this. Hell, we were the ones who even brought the money for those cements and granites, the parishioners. I didn't personally bring any money because, I was still a teenager and in secondary school. My parents and, all the other grown-ups in church who could bring money did. They brought money and they still showed up for work. And we did this in the thousands. And I know some of you might be wondering, if it's a new church, how is it that there were already people on ground available for this free labor? Let me explain to you. So what happened was, it was a Catholic church. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I grew up Catholic. So what happened was they wanted to create a new parish in this community area that I grew up in because the Catholic church that was closest to us was like miles and miles away. Before we started building the church, we used to worship in this hall that the church had borrowed from the person that they bought the land from. This person was a Catholic as well, so it was an easy decision for them to make, I guess. So basically, it was people who were already Catholics that were attending that other parish that I told you guys was miles and miles away that now make up this new parish that was starting to form. So we were managing the temporary hall because we did not have a church, but eventually we started building our own church. And that was how, we had people already on ground in the thousands available for the free labor of building this church. Now, why is she sharing this? Some people might be wondering, and I'll tell you. Like I said earlier, I'm not trying to take away from the experience of the victims in the documentary or make the documentary about me. That's the last thing I want to do. But I wanted to highlight the fact that people who are being exploited, unfortunately, don't realize that they are being exploited. It's very easy for people who are looking from the outside in to be thinking, what's wrong with these people? They are obviously being exploited. Why can't they leave? But here's the thing. How can you leave an exploitative situation if you don't even know you are being exploited? Hell, how can you even make someone who actively made the decision to be there, to give their labor for free? How can you make them know that they're actually being exploited for their labor? Because these people chose to be there. Nobody forced them to be there. I only realized now in 2024 after watching that documentary, while I was watching the documentary, even after all these years of living Christianity, I only realized in 2024 that I and my fellow parishioners were being exploited for our labor when we're building that church. And exploitation in the church just might be the worst kind of exploitation, because these men of God, they know the right things to say. They know exactly what to say to get you to do exactly what they want you to do. And you would make the decision willingly to do these things. You would think you are doing it by choice, but no, you have been manipulated to do these things. They know what scriptures to quote. They know what church saying to root out. They know how to get into the minds of people. And because they know that these people are, they're trying to be good Christians, they're trying to be closer to God, they'll be willing to do anything you tell them to do if you say, you are going to be doing this for God. That is how you get a whole church to give not only their finances, but their labor for weeks, not questioning it, not seeing it like they are being used here, not feeling it. They are working zealously to build this place that they would not profit nothing from. One, because they want to get closer to God, and because they believe it's for God. We're told it's for the ministry. It's for God's work. It's for his word. You are building him a house. When you hold this God in high esteem, who doesn't want to do something for God? especially when you believe that you are a lowly human who can never do anything right. At least that much you can do, so you want to do it. It's for God. And when you factor in the power dynamic at play as well, the power dynamic of the person telling you to do this is a so-called man of God, a priest, a pastor, a bishop, a deacon, whatever. Someone you already hold in such high esteem, because in your head, whether consciously or subconsciously, you see this person as spiritually more higher than you. This person is, a man of God. This person is closer to God than you. Hell, in the Catholic Church, we go to priests to do confessions. We tell these people, we pour our guts out, because we were made to believe that this person, after Jesus Naram, someone that you call daddy in the Lord, or like we say in the Catholic Church, or they say rather, I'm no longer part of it, right? Father. Do you know what that psychologically does to you when you refer to someone else as father? People look at these men and they don't really see these men as the kind of humans that they are. They see them as higher than them. That's why it's very easy for so-called men of God, pastors, priests, deacons, bishops, to use church people. Because these people might not be aware of it, but they are subconsciously looking at this person as higher than them. They look at these people, these men of God, as people who cannot err. People who are trying to steer them, who are there to steer them in the right path so they can be closer to God and make it to heaven. And that power dynamic is one thing that really, really gets the goal to the post every single freaking time. Why did the victims not talk? Since because of this power dynamic, they can see how the followers of these so-called men of God carry them. When it comes to pastors or priests, even your parents will not believe you. Some people think it could not have been them in this situation. The same people who wear the picture of their pastors on their neck. It can be anybody. Literally. Anybody. Some people be talking about this is why you need to pray for the spirit of discernment. What you need to be praying about is to not find yourself in such a situation, because you know what? Even you and your spirit of discernment will fall for it. And you will not even realize it. You may never even realize it. Maybe if you ever do, it will be years later, like me. This is why when people come into my comment section talking about, oh, this one was never a true Christian. You don't even know people's lived experience. You don't know what they've done. Because they wanted to be better Christians, because they wanted to be better children of God, because they wanted to be closer to Him. I was in a choir. I was a lay reader. Oh my goodness. I was a good Catholic. But look at me now. Yeah, I did come by this story. Very sad and unfortunate to say the least. I was pained when I read this. For those of you who might be hearing about this story for the first time, so this pastor from Kenya called Pastor Mackenzie asked his congregation to fast to death, telling them that doing that will get them to heaven faster. Some died, some are hospitalized. This is one of the hospitalized patients who is being questioned by the Kenyan police. This is a more recent article. This was posted 3 hours ago. 21 bodies dug up in cult investigation of pastor in Kenya. I love that they called it a cult. It's about time we start calling these organizations exactly what they are. Cults. Because the heinous, insidious things that happen in these places. Sorry guys, it's getting dark, but reading from the same article, 21 bodies have been found so far on lands owned by a pastor in coastal Kenya who was arrested for telling his followers to fast to death. Malindi Sub-County Police Chief John Kemboy said more shallow graves have yet to be dug up on the lands belonging to Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who was arrested on April the 14th over links to cultism. A further 4 people died after they and others were discovered starving at the Good News International Church. Police have asked the court to allow them to hold Mackenzie longer as investigations into the death of his followers continue. A tip-off from members of the public led police to raid the pastor's property in Malindi, where they found 50 emaciated people, including the 4 who later died. Followers said they were starving on the pastor's instruction in order to meet Jesus. Like, it's just crazy, the insanity that's going on. I have no words, absolutely no words at all. No, this is more than demonic. These people like to use the words demonic every time everything is demonic. This right here is demonic. It is a serious problem. You know, when you see, guys, you can check out the rest of the article. Just a quick Google would get you there. You get all the information you need, but this is sad. This is sad. This is unfortunate. This is the insanity that our people are being subjected to. And I feel bad for the people that had to die, right? I feel bad for those that we have lost in this unfortunate incident, in this whole religion saga. People have lost so much. Their lives, family, resources, just because the pastor said. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate. This has to stop.
We need to talk about it one day. Because the horrific things that the church is getting away with in our communities, guys. And we are in the days of church conferences now, where overnight prayers are happening left, right, and center, where our aunts and our mothers and our grandmothers are spending so much time in the church, cooking and prepping and fixing and doing all of these things while they're neglecting themselves and their homes. All in preparation for the hereafter. But Guyasha, it is burning here, where we always have to take everything to God in prayer. Everything. As if we were not given free will, as if we were not given a thought process. But we must negate the thought process and logic and take it to the Lord in prayer. The church, we need to talk about it as a people, guys. We need to talk about it. We can't keep pretending that it is only alcohol and drugs and shebeens and foreign nationals. The church must also be called into account. All denominations. We'll talk about it one day. Maybe not today, but the church.
Super glad these conversations are starting to happen. So yeah, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts? Let's continue this conversation down below in the comment section. I'll be catching you guys there. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Yeah, I did come by this story. Very sad and unfortunate to say the least. I was pained when I read this. For those of you who might be hearing about this story for the first time, so this pastor from Kenya called Pastor Mackenzie asked his congregation to fast to death, telling them that doing that will get them to heaven faster. Some died, some are hospitalized. This is one of the hospitalized patients who is being questioned by the Kenyan police. This is a more recent article. This was posted 3 hours ago. 21 bodies dug up in cult investigation of pastor in Kenya. I love that they called it a cult. It's about time we start calling these organizations exactly what they are. Cults. Because the heinous, insidious things that happen in these places. Sorry guys, it's getting dark, but reading from the same article, 21 bodies have been found so far on lands owned by a pastor in coastal Kenya who was arrested for telling his followers to fast to death. Malindi Sub-County Police Chief John Kemboy said more shallow graves have yet to be dug up on the lands belonging to Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who was arrested on April the 14th over links to cultism. A further 4 people died after they and others were discovered starving at the Good News International Church. Police have asked the court to allow them to hold Mackenzie longer as investigations into the death of his followers continue. A tip-off from members of the public led police to raid the pastor's property in Malindi, where they found 50 emaciated people, including the 4 who later died. Followers said they were starving on the pastor's instruction in order to meet Jesus. Like, it's just crazy, the insanity that's going on. I have no words, absolutely no words at all. No, this is more than demonic. These people like to use the words demonic every time everything is demonic. This right here is demonic. It is a serious problem. You know, when you see, guys, you can check out the rest of the article. Just a quick Google would get you there, you get all the information you need. But this is sad. This is unfortunate. This is the insanity that our people are being subjected to. And I feel bad for the people that had to die, right? I feel bad for those that we have lost in this unfortunate incident, in this whole religion saga. People have lost so much. Their lives, family, resources, just because the pastor said. It's very sad. It's very unfortunate. This has to stop.